Let's get some prize picks in today, guys. Last night's picks went 0-3, so I had Shea and Giannis on the under PRA, both missed, and then also Jalen Duren, which actually got bumped to 14, so we captured value on that, but also still missed, so 0-3 night. And guys, as I'm recording this video, there's a lot of lines that are just getting bumped, and it's getting increasingly hard to kind of upload these videos on time without being bumped. So like for example, for this video, I had two picks. I had De'Aaron Fox, and I had also Jaylen Brown, who both got bumped on prize picks. So I'm just going to go over the picks either way, because I kind of just did all the research on it. If you guys like it at the bumps, grab it. But on Underdog, they're actually not bumped. So I'm going to go through the slips, and we're going to place the slip on Underdog instead, because they are bumped on prize picks. There's not much I could do, honestly. Every time I'm looking at a player, it always gets bumped because I'm capturing value on these. I kind of have my dashboard here giving me all the best value picks. So when I go over them, as I'm looking into them, looking on props.cash, they all get bumped. If you're watching this like 4 hours after this video's up, you're going to see all these props. Look at Bam, he's probably going to get bumped. Cal Kuzma probably going to get bumped. Brunson, all these guys are going to get bumped. And I had a couple of these that already did get bumped that I was looking at earlier. So I'll get into it either way in the video. And the first pick I was looking at was actually De'Aaron Fox on the over 31.5 points plus assists. But as you can see, he got bumped to 32. But let's just take a look at him either way. He's 61% hit rate over the season at 31.5 PA. If you bump that up to 32.5, bump slightly down to 58%. So like this is one of the ones that I wouldn't mind taking at 32. You can see this bump doesn't affect De'Aaron Fox as much when it comes to 31.5 and 32. He was about one game where he would have pushed rather than hit in the 35 games he played this season. So like this is one that I would probably take the bump, but again, I could go on Underdog right here, and he is at 31.5 PA. So I'm basically going to do a 3-man on Underdog and lock it in here instead, because I'm getting better value on Underdog. Why would I not? So on Price Picks, at 32. Why would I not grab him at 31.5? On Underdog? And if you want to sign up for Underdog, I do have a 100% deposit match link in the description. Just better payouts for the 3-mans, and in general, I could get ahead of the bumps much easier. So that's going to be the first pick I was looking at, De'Aaron Fox. And the reason I was liking this pick is DraftKings, Caesars, and PointsBet all have juice towards the over, and DraftKings all the way at minus 140, while BetMGM and FanDuel already have him bumped to 32.5. So I will say something about FanDuel here. They only have him at 50-50 chance to go over that 32.5. Which means at 32, it's still a decent spot because we're getting that half value, which bumps us up to like a 53% chance that at least he's touching that 32. And then another thing to mention is if you guys have PointsBet or Caesars, I do think it's a good bet at minus 120-ish. Minus 125 is pushing it a little bit, but definitely at minus 120, if you guys are on PointsBet, I think is a great bet for De'Aaron Fox over 31.5. On Price Picks, we're getting about minus 119 implied, just to kind of give you perspective if you guys are on sportsbooks. Another thing to look at is his last 5, just to check his minutes, how he's been averaging, and pretty decent minutes here. At the minimum, he's hit 34.8, averaging about 38.4 per game. In general, his season averages are 35.6 minutes. So I'm definitely liking the minutes increases, and just in general, pretty decent minutes over the season. We could check out the conditions for tonight's game, and it's Golden State at home with a -2 spread favorite to the Sacramento Kings, and a high total here, 242.5. This should be a tight game with a lot of points, which is perfect for De'Aaron Fox's PA. You can check out Fox's splits away, and they are slightly worse here, 53% hit rate compared to that 60% hit rate on this 32 PA. At the 31.5, it's exactly the same, which is why I said, okay, at 32, it's not a bad take on the over, but I'd rather take it on Underdog. Other than that, it's a decent matchup versus Golden State, 22nd in points allowed and 14th in assists allowed. And as I said, pretty decently high total here at 242.5. Last thing I do want to check is his projected minutes. So we know it's a tight spread. We know it's probably going to be a tight game. And we also know that he's been averaging quite a few minutes recently. So I do think he's going to get at least 35 minutes. The projection models over here have him at 35 minutes, and this one has him at 37. So decently higher than that 35. So let's just check him around those minutes. And if we just remove this filter, go to 2023, and put him up from, let's say, 32 to 38. We'll check that. That's like a decent range, I think, in between that 35 and 37. 61% hit rate again. So like a lot of the ways you look at this, you're going to find that 61% hit rate over and over. The one place you won't find that is in his last 10 or even his last 15. He's wildly inconsistent recently, and he's not been clearing this. So he's been pretty cold. If you guys don't think he's going to find his form again, maybe fade this pick, grab the under. Up to you. But his season hit rates have been good, and yes, it's very skewed towards the beginning of the season where he was clearing this quite often, and he is cold recently. But if you find some form tonight in a tight game here, I do think he clears this with 36 plus minutes. That is the first pick. Again, 32 on Price Picks, 31.5 on Underdog. So I'm going to build a slip here. But next pick was going to be Jaylen Brown, and it was going to be on his over 27.5 RA. And again, bumped. Once again, why? Because we're capturing value here on these picks. And if 27.5 was too good, so they had to bump it to 28 points plus rebounds. This was going to be the over again. And unlike Fox, I think this one is not good enough to take at 28. 27.5 was a great spot, But 28, you could see already the hit rates drop pretty drastically. You go from 22 out of 41 here to 18 out of 37. So you can see how this half point really affects Jaylen Brown. He pushed it 4 times this season. Quite often, basically his PR does hover around this 27 to 29 quite often. So it's not good enough to take at the 28. I don't think so. So the 27.5, again, if you guys are on Caesars or BetMGM, definitely good at the 27.5. PointsBet and FanDuel already have him set at 28.5. DraftKings has heavy juice towards the minus 140. So definitely a good take on these two sportsbooks in terms of juice. But like I said, at 28, not too good, but definitely going to be taking this on underdog where he's still at 27.5. And he probably will get bumped here too eventually. But for now, he's at 27.5. So I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. So go back on props.cash. The matchup for Brown here is against Miami, 4th in points allowed, 9th in rebounds allowed. And they are actually playing away tonight. But heavy favorites here at -8 spread. And quite a low total here at 224. That doesn't make sense because Miami is 4th in points allowed. So they're not giving up too many points. There's lower paced games with less points when you're up against Miami. But in general, he did manage to clear this last time they played with 33 points plus rebounds. So we do have a kind of indication of how this matchup can go. But despite the higher spread at -8, he does still have some decent projected minutes, at least on these models here. So 34 minutes here and then 35 minutes here. So pretty decent. I think it's a bit high, honestly. He has been averaging 33.6 minutes this season, and in his last 5, only 32.6. So I think those projection models are a bit high. So let's just put him up to like 30 minutes to 35 max. I think 35 is probably the max he's going to get. I think that's a bit much. So 30 to 35, 50% hit rate. If we add in more games here, at 30 to 35, he has this 58% hit rate. That's on the over 27.5. Again, he did push this one extra time if you're grabbing the 28, which is why, again, I don't like it there. But still a decent one at the 27.5 if you guys are getting it elsewhere. That is the second pick, Jaylen Brown over 27.5 P. The last one I don't believe has been bumped yet, so we're going to go at Rudy Gobert on the under 14.5 points. Again, this is one I flagged on OddsJuice, but it's a bit lower of expected value than all the other ones. You can see like Bam and Kuzma are a bit better. Again, if I go check a lot of these guys later in the day, I wouldn't be surprised if they're all bumped. Like Brunson to 28, Kuzma to 21, and Bam to 4. Bam probably won't get moved to 4, but I think Kuzma will get bumped to 21 and Brunson to 28. We could go check in 5 hours what happens. Rudy Gobert under 14.5 points has a 55-ish% likeness to hit. That is one that's not bumped right now, so we're going to definitely throw him in the entry. Obviously, this is great juice to the under, and we can confirm that on props.cash, where every single sportsbook has juice towards the under 14.5. In general, he has hit this over 42% of the time, so 58% of the time he has gone under. And you can see, unlike Fox, Rudy Gobert has been in amazing form here, has been clearing this. Check the last 10 here, has cleared a 6 in the past 10. But look at these matchups here. They're not that difficult, right? Portland in this one, Detroit in this one, Memphis in this one, Washington in this one, and this was without Mike Conley. He couldn't clear it versus the Hornets, and then he cleared it versus some tougher matchups like the Clippers and Orlando. But in general, most of these were easy matchups. Now, one thing to notice is that Mike Conley was out last night, and he did clear 19 points. But again, that was versus the Wizards of all teams. So Mike Conley might play tonight. We're actually not sure. I checked some injury reports, and I couldn't tell whether he would be playing yet or not. It's a bit early in the day. But with Mike Conley, he has cleared this 41% of the time. And without Mike Conley, he has cleared this 1 out of 2 times. Basically, there's not a lot of data without Mike Conley. He's been playing pretty much the whole season, so not much there. That being said, if Mike Conley is out, I don't think that helps Rudy Gobert's points, so hopefully he does play, but I think this is still a good prop even if Mike Conley plays or not. Tonight, they have a much tighter game. They are in a back-to-back, as they just played Washington last night. They have a much tighter game here versus the Nets, plus 3.5 spread, so Minnesota still expected to win this one with the uncertainty of Conley. But look at this low total, 217. minus 3.5 spread. So yes, it will be a tight game, but probably not a lot of points in this game. And Minnesota on a back-to-back. So this total is a decent indicator that, there's not going to be too many points and that Rudy Gobert is more likely to stay under. They're also playing away where Rudy Gobert has slightly worse hit rates. 8 out of 22 times he cleared this. But again, he still cleared this in the past 3. And last night was still away versus Washington. In the past 5 games, he has been averaging 37 minutes, which is quite a bit here. In the season, he has been averaging only 33. But tonight, it is a back-to-back. So we'll see kind of what the models have him projected at. And one has him at 32. And the other one has him at 34. So that kind of makes sense to me. I'm not sure if he's going to go get like 37, 38 minutes tonight. But 32 to 34 is right around his average of 33. We'll just check him from 30 to 36 as a decent spot. And he has hit here 37% of the time on the under. So that is going to be the third pick on Rudy Gobert under 14.5. As I was about to go lock in Rudy Gobert as my last pick on underdog here, you could see Jaylen Brown did get bumped. He's actually just not on the board anymore at 27.5 RA. Why? Because probably is good value and they're going to return him at 28, which is really annoying. But just to show you guys, the reason we're capturing good value is because we're using these resources like props.cash. Again, I have a discount code in the description for 25% off your first month. But we're using tools like this to sort of find positive expected value picks. I'm combining our OddsJuice dashboard that kind of shows these positive expected value picks straight, and then I go on props.cash to kind of analyze them a little bit more. But again, every single pick that I'm showing in these videos have a 55% hit rate. I know that yesterday's went 0-3 and things like that. Like, bad things happen like that. Just because a pick has a 55% hit rate doesn't mean it's going to hit. And it could be that all of them miss, right? Could be all these 3 miss tonight. But I'm proving to you guys that I'm capturing value on these because they're getting bumped. They wouldn't be getting bumped away from where I'm betting them if they weren't good value picks. I got this at 27.5, 31.5, or I would have if I was quick enough and not filming a video. But you can see how that kind of pays off in the long run. And I show these charts on these players compared to 27.5 and 28.5 to show you that there is value that we're capturing here. Because even if players have only played 35 games this season, a lot of their points plus rebounds, for example, on Jaylen Brown, I showed you the 27 and 28.5. We got an extra like 4 games that he would have went over if we had the 27.5. So that is when you know you're sort of capturing value and beating price picks in the long run. So again, as I'm talking, De'Aaron Fox got bumped on underdog now from 31.5 to 32.5 PA. So again, just kind of proves my point. I know what I'm doing here. I'm capturing these value on these picks. Obviously, I'm being too slow because I have to record these picks for you and then upload them. And as I'm recording, they always get bumped, which is why it's becoming very, very difficult, as I said in the beginning of the video, to upload these on time without getting bumped. Even Jaylen Brown from last night, I upload the video, already is bumped. So it's very difficult to capture the most value on these picks. I'm going to basically have to start my slip from the ground up here. I can't use De'Aaron Fox anymore. I can't use Jaylen Brown. I could use Rudy Gobert here, but I prefer him on price picks at the 6 flex. It's a slightly better payout. If you guys know any of the math about price picks and underdog, I'm not going to explain the math for price picks and underdog. There's so many videos about it, but basically it would be a better payout in the 6 flex rather than on underdog. So basically my official pick for today is going to be Rudy Gobert on the under 14.5 points. Everything else got bumped. This is the only thing that's not bumped as I'm recording this. The other 3 picks here, you're going to see I actually filled them into an underdog entry, guys. If you do have underdog, you're getting value on all these picks. I ripped them all off the positive expected value dashboard here on OddsJuice. So Vucevic under 12.5 rebounds set at minus 139, 58% likelihood to hit. Andrew Wiggins over 12.5 points, again, minus 138, 58% likelihood to hit. Then Jaylen Brown was the one that got bumped. I could show you right here. He's bumped to 28 points plus rebounds, as I said, because we're capturing value on these. Jamal Murray under 36.5 PRA at minus 126, 55%, 56% likelihood to hit on that one. So I'm going to lock this one in for $100. I'm putting my money where my mouth is on this, guys. I put a lot of money on these where I'm allowed to. On price picks, I'm limited, so I'm not allowed to because I want too much money there. But Rudy Gobert under 14.5 points. See, every single pick, Jamal Murray is set at 35.5 PRA. So that's why I grabbed the 36.5 under on underdog. Wiggins is set at 13 already, not 12.5. And then Vucevic is set at 12 rather than 12.5. So we captured all kinds of value before underdog bumps these lines like price picks has. Price picks is a bit quicker on these bumps. So that is going to be one official play. Rudy Gobert under 14.5 points. But we're also going to go throw in Vucevic on the over 24.5 points on this demon pick. No, I'm kidding, guys. Don't take these demon picks. Price picks is absolutely scamming you with these. Check out this video to understand why.